Joining us to talk about that is U.S. Representative Adam Schiff of Burbank. He's chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning.
To Frank's point, what he was just talking about, news over the weekend, President Biden officially recognizing the Armenian Genocide. What happens next, including our relationship with Turkey?
Well, this is a really big step that a president hasn't taken since Ronald Reagan, and it's brought a lot of, I think, gladness and relief from the Armenian community and human rights activists around the world. There's no contesting the facts that the Ottoman Empire Turks murdered 1.5 million Armenian men, women, and children. Will it affect the U.S.-Turkey relationship? Well, we'll find out. But the reality is Turkey has been drifting away from the United States. It's become increasingly autocratic under Erdogan. Turkey's now the leading jailer of journalists in the world. They're buying Russian air defense missiles that are incompatible with NATO. They're cozying up to Iran. So this has been a long time coming in terms of Turkey's drift away from democracy and away from the West. But regardless, this is the right thing to do. And clearly, if our relationship with Turkey depends on our denying genocide, it can't be much of a relationship.
Let's talk about Afghanistan, the U.S. troop withdrawal there. It will end America's longest war. As chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, you know better than all of us that we went into Afghanistan to make sure that there wouldn't be threats against the homeland in the future, post 9/11. With U.S. troops out of there, are you concerned that those threats could reemerge?
It is a concern. The risk isn't going to go down to zero. The reality is, though, that there's a greater risk from other regions of the world right now, which we're not occupying with large numbers of troops or even small numbers of troops. So I think this is the right decision after 20 years. You can't accuse us of not having staying power, but it has proved, I think, very, very difficult to create an Afghan government that Afghans are willing to fight for and defend. And I think we could easily stay there another 10 or 20 years and see the same kind of military stalemate. So we will be able to continue to do counterterrorism. We'll continue, obviously, to keep our eye on what's happening in Afghanistan. But the threat won't go down to zero, and we'll have to be on our guard.
A bill that you have championed for nearly 2 decades now to protect our local wilderness, it has cleared the House and is headed for the Senate. Tell us about the Rim of the Valley Corridor Preservation Act.
That bill would about double the size of the Santa Monica Mountains Recreation Area, something that is one of the most heavily utilized urban parks in the country, and home of this great wildlife that we enjoy in Los Angeles with mountain lions and bears and other great creatures. And if we're going to preserve that wildlife, we need to preserve the wildlife corridors. And if we want these areas to be available for future generations, we have to work on that now. So this will vastly expand the size of the recreation area. It will, I hope, attract more resources to the park for trail maintenance, for habitat, for outdoor recreation. And so it's been a long time coming, and we're very close to the finish line.
Earlier this year, Congress passed President Biden's nearly $2 trillion coronavirus relief package. How is that money flowing to Southern California? How is it going to be spent, or how is it being spent?
Well, Southern California has been a huge beneficiary, where we've received hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, in this region to help avoid layoffs, to help speed vaccinations, to help people who are unemployed through no fault of their own, to help renters keep a roof over their head and help the homeless find shelter. These are just some of the things this does. It helps us reopen our schools and provide schools with those resources. So it's been a huge lift for our area. And if we're successful in the next big package, the infrastructure package, that will also bring enormous dividends to Southern California.
There's a lot of pushback on that from Republicans. Are you confident that it will pass in some form?
You know, there was a lot of pushback on the CARES Act from Republicans in Congress. But interestingly, Republicans outside of Congress, a great many of them liked it all over the country. Republican mayors, Republican governors, and just Republican citizens, understanding the imperative of getting through this pandemic and bringing our economy back. And I think the same will be true with the infrastructure package. It's already enormously popular in the country with Democrats and a great many Republicans. And I just hope that the Republicans in Congress are more reflective of Republicans back home who understand the imperative of economic relief and economic growth and rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure.
Congressman Schiff, we appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for being with us.